This is Hillcross Primary School in the London Borough of Merton.
Is it going to be in the washing basket?
Julie Bowen is a teaching assistant at the school working with special needs children.
No.
Because he's learning just basic.
Here she's learning about some special needs software from fellow teaching assistant Jenna Ranjan, with Deputy Head Julian Greenfield sitting in on the session.
So they select one of
They
those.
select whatever they think is suitable.
He's also the CPD coordinator at the school.
One of the most important things about any school is it's a learning environment for everybody. So it's not just the children, but obviously all the stakeholders. But under my remit very much as CPD coordinator, the important part of that is obviously the staff. And as we all know, one of the best ways of learning anything or consolidating the learning is actually to teach it to someone else.
Click on that. I agreed. This is how it works for numeracy.
Right. So from Julie's point of view,
Yeah.
if she's trying to put something together for, say, Georgia and Emmy,
Yeah.
she can actually access the same folder that you've just shown us.
I created for my own use. She can create her own folder. They just have to look for the beginning sound.
Learning from each other is the basis of much of the CPD at Hillcross.
Georgia, can you help
See,
me?
it comes there. See?
Oh,
Good
Georgia.
girl, well
Good
done.
girl. Well done. Now you have to.
I have heard about it, and I know that we've sent a couple of our teachers on the course to do Clicker 5, but it's really good to see it in action and actually see how straightforward it is, because sometimes we hear about computer courses and resources and it takes quite a lot of training, but this certainly seems to be something that we'd be able to use, and obviously the most important thing is that the kids are getting something out of it. I think it's fairly evident they're doing that now.
Good girl.
Well done.
It's very easy to use. I think it's easy to set up the programs. I think it's good fun, good learning fun.
With CPD at the moment, what we're trying to do is develop a more strategic plan so that we're scheduling different courses, different learning experiences for the teachers in. But this is something that we want to make available to a number of the teaching assistants.
What colours can you see in me?
Yellow.
Yellow, good
And
girl.
green.
And green. Georgia.
And blue.
Blue, good
And
girl.
red.
Red.
And
What one?
pink.
Oh, it's nearly pink, sweetheart. It's
Orange.
good girl.
I'm the teacher and Natalie's the nursery nurse, and we tend to teach a lot together. Today we're going to be talking about feelings, okay? And I want you to just have a good look at this picture here.
The development of support staff is an important feature of CPD at Hillcross.
Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Why do you think one of them is feeling very sad and one of them is feeling very happy?
Teacher Amy Hattersley and nursery nurse Natalie Vernier are working together with their reception class.
It's not very fair. Okay, what about then
This picture, have a good look. How do you think they're feeling now?
The first few weeks I came in and I observed and watched and I got to know the children, and after a while they encouraged me to participate in inputs and everything like that.
Give me that toy.
No,
Yes.
When Natalie first joined us, we did a lot of training up in that. Natalie did sit and watch. She observed a lot of our lessons. We talked through why we did things, what our rules were within the classroom, how we reward, how we treat behaviour problems, so on and so forth. Then Natalie gradually took on a bit more responsibility.
I learn a lot from what I'm doing rather than just watching, so it helps me.
Okay, what about now then?
The team are really positive and they give me a lot of confidence.
Please may I play with your teddy?
You can have it when I've finished with it.
Okay, thank you.
How do you think we're feeling now? Happy! Happy. Why are we happy this time when we weren't happy before? What was different about this time? Georgie?
Because Natalie asked nicely.
She did ask nicely. And then
I think the teachers give us the academics and we learn a lot from them, and nursery nurses have got a lot more of the holistic child from birth to obviously as they grow up, so we can give some back to them as well.
you had a sad look on your face too, so I like that fact. Well done. I couldn't have done that on my own, and Natalie couldn't have done it on her own, so we did the two of us together. Means that we had a much better teaching practices for the children, and we can give them a much more all-round style of learning because we can use the visual, audio and the kinesthetic.
I really like that. Thank you, Alex. Should we go play?
The important message there is that, you know, the main teachers, be their lead teacher or a less experienced, they can learn from one another, and obviously, most importantly, so do the children as well.
I'm going to choose Mikey today. Would you like...
Tanya Doig is another reception teacher at Hillcross, and she too works with a nursery nurse, Marie Day.
I think just from observing the teachers and working with the teachers, you learn from each other.
Have a look at our picture, Mikey. What is it?
A dog.
Are you sure it's a dog? Very sure? Right.
I think it's a reciprocal process. The teachers learn just as much from us as we learn from them. So this morning we are going to play a game similar. Officially I'm a nursery nurse and I help support the teachers in the classroom. I think here the boundaries between being a teacher and a nursery nurse are very blurred, but in other schools the boundaries are quite defined in that the teacher will take total responsibility for the class, but here we all take responsibility for the teaching.
I think it's important that we take on board that they have expertise that we haven't got, and we need to learn from one another and respect one another and give each other as much responsibility as we can, because I think with more responsibility people start doing more.
Many CPD sessions at Hillcross take the form of informal discussions between colleagues. Reception teacher Tanya, who is also the school's literacy coordinator, is meeting Year 2 teacher Kay Davis.
How the children achieve during the sets, where our strengths are, where our possible weaknesses are.
They're discussing the implications of the latest Key Stage 1 SAT results.
I mean, we talked about that phonic thing as well, isn't it? I mean, because of the reading is such an important impact from the reception. The phonic scheme is got to be...
The PIPs.
Yeah,
but that is something that's been changed as well, hasn't it? So you'll probably see the impact now in the next year, because we only started PIPs in reception last year. So that's
it's going to make
current
a big
year
difference.
1, and it's going to be next year's year 2. So the PIPs is going to have a big impact.
Good. That sounds good.
So it's our level 1 and working towards it. We need to just work on.
I mean, 2C and level 1 is our really focus point. Our target group is this too.
So we're obviously extending children or not.
Yes.
We just need to work with this group here.
So I mean, we know the target group. So next year, when they go up to year 3, then we know which group
we have to be targeting those children.
Yeah.
Basically, what we need to target is sentence structure.
Yeah. And I think that has to go through from reception year 1 and year 2.
It has to be. I think we have to make that our focus: sentence structure and punctuation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you agree?
Yeah,
Do you think from nursery reception up?
What Tanya did in the basic work during the foundation stage, we build on there and then we move on. But sometimes some children, they cannot catch up with the speed we are going. So then I have to go back to Tanya. And what do you think? How we go through from here? This is our target group. Any good ideas, especially she's a literacy coordinator. So we discuss quite a lot.
We'll also be talking about how we can use one another in a sense in classes, because obviously Kay's expertise, you know, with the older children and I with the younger children. And obviously I'm going to have to extend children. So I would look at year 1 and year 2 staff and say, you know, what can I do next with these children? We're also talking about training the rest of the staff on what needs to be done next. So we'll be presenting a key stage meeting and we'll be working through all these action points and targets with the rest of the staff. So it's really important that we have this time to sit and talk about it first.
How did you find the monitoring we did on Monday, where we went around and had a look? How did you find that?
I found it quite a useful experience. We gave a good general overview of what was happening.
As part of her professional development, NQT Sarah Morris has been asked to monitor the delivery of design and technology across the school. She's reporting back to head teacher Mandy Pitts.
Have you found out anything other of interest in that at the moment?
Resources that perhaps it would be more useful to perhaps do as we do with the Art Have a Central area or something like that.
We're not centrally resourced, are we, at the moment?
No, not at the moment, not for DT.
What would you say, having done this for the first time, is the thing that you've learnt the most, just in the monitoring that you've had a go at? What's been the thing that's been key for you?
I think I've found it a very useful experience to go along and just see what happens in other classrooms.
What I'd like to see you doing, I think next as well, is actually doing some lesson observations and actually observing the learning and the teaching going on, because I think that's where you're at the moment. I think you need to go in and see some teaching and actually make your own judgments about what's going on, and then have some support in what to do with those judgments, and how that will perhaps influence your own teaching or influence what subjects that you're actually leading.
Yes, certainly. I think obviously observing other teachers is always a valuable experience for an NQT.
Well done, thank you very much. I think you made a cracking job of it.
Thank you. First step for you, between now and when I see you next.
As in many primary schools, Julian has a full teaching timetable as well as his responsibilities for CPD. How does he fit it all in?
It is difficult to fit it in. I mean, I suppose the way I see it is, I've got an overall picture of where I'm trying to get to, and each person has got those targets to meet. But clearly the needs of the school are also uppermost in my mind as well, as we're currently redrafting the school improvement plan.
Senko Julie Whittington has just come back from an external course interpreting the school's panda figures, and she's explaining their significance to Deputy Head Julian.
All through the panda, maths comes out as the area for improvement, actually. Right. English is actually stronger.
What we're saying is that perhaps with regard to training, maybe it's not just literacy that we need to be focusing on.
A remedial support in maths is definitely an area we need to be looking at as a priority, really. Because at the moment we have very little up and running.
No. Well, I mean, clearly from this actually does put it in context, doesn't it?
We have the knowledge and the skills for the literacy, and what we do clearly has an effect, whether we have always enough people to put it into place. But we don't appear to have the structure at the moment for the maths, so that is an area to develop.
That's a major issue there. But I think, as you say, from this, it's clear that starting from the top with obviously the maths coordinator, we need to think about developing expertise there.
It's only through the input of some of these staff going out for courses that we maybe are able to throw the spotlight on certain areas that need development. In this case it's certainly the maths.
Later in the day, Deputy Head Julian catches up with two NQTs who are approaching the end of their first year at the school.
In your final term as being NQTs, we're looking to move your teaching onto the next level. Are there any ways in particular that you think we can help you to do that in the course of this last term?
It might not be this next half term, but certainly for next year, to make some of my teaching more topic based, so that you cover more than one subject at a time.
Yeah, definitely.
And that seems, I've talked to other teachers that have done that, and it seems to free up a lot more time because you're teaching more than one thing at once.
That's right, really hitting different areas of the curriculum, possibly humanities.
But obviously it takes a lot more thought in your planning to try and cover everything.
It's also more exciting as well, though, isn't it? And I mean, I guess if we're getting excited, dare I say it, but more excited about our planning, then hopefully the kids will get more excited about their learning, and that, after all, is perhaps the key.
I mean, I agree with that, and I think the base of actually doing it for a year just gives you that, you can be more adventurous because you have more idea where it's going to go.
At the end of the day, your teachers are your main resource in any school. It doesn't matter how much you spend on whiteboards or computer software or the outside environment. Your main resource at any school are the teachers. And the best way of developing them is by investing in them, showing that they are the most important resource, and by encouraging them to develop themselves, both professionally and personally. And if you're helping to develop teachers, then you're certainly going to be helping to develop pupils.